We cannot touch anything. We don't have any numbers, nothing. We are asked to solve for lowercase b. How do we clean it up to solve for lowercase b? What is the first step? I know it looks differently, but it's exactly what we did all along.
Two a divided by.
Of course.
B
No,
H?
not yet. So first we eliminate the fractions. 2a equals b plus b times h. Good. Remember, we are solving for lowercase b. What do I need to get rid of now?
Parentheses?
That's one option, I agree. But I'd rather get rid of h altogether. How do I get rid of h altogether?
Divide by h by both sides?
Absolutely. So 2a divided by h equals uppercase b plus lowercase b, of course. Final step, remember we are solving for lowercase b. We don't care about anything else. That's our target.
Subtract b and add to the
That's
other side.
it. That's it. So then b equals 2a over h minus b. This is it. They're exactly the same steps. I know it looks very differently. I agree. Okay, here's another. So we have the volume of a rectangular box is the length times width times height. Which of these variables you want to solve for? You pick one. You want to solve for L, for W, or H?
L.
Okay, so we want to solve for L. How will you solve this equation for L?
V the.
Yes?
I was gonna say divide W over H.
So tell me what we divide both sides by. I cannot divide one side. What do we divide both sides by?
B.
So let's come back here. We're solving for H. I need to get rid of the quantity that multiplies H, not get rid of A or get rid of 2. I need to get rid of this quantity in order to have H by itself. So let's come back here. I want L by itself. What should I do to both sides?
Divide W and H on both sides?
Divide by WH. Remember, when you cross multiply, you get this back. This times this equals V times 1. That's another way of checking. Okay, here's another one. P equals C plus 4B plus 3A. What would you like to solve for? A, B, or C? You choose. 1, 2, 3, I will choose. I will choose to solve for A. So we're solving for A. What do we need to do first?
Get everything else other than A on the left?
Absolutely. So P minus C minus 4B equals 3A. Absolutely. Get rid of everything that does not have A in it. Excellent. So we are solving for A. Here we have two options. Option 1 and option 2. Both are correct. One is better than the other depending on the situation. One option is, so first of all, how you solve for A? What would you have to do to both sides to solve for A?
Divide by 3.
Good, perfect. One option is this. P minus C minus 4B, which is good. But this is better in other situations. Divide each and every term by 3. Not write a long fraction line and put 3 in the denominator. No, just write it as P over 3 minus C over 3 minus 4B over 3. You will see we will have to use both in different situations. Let's talk a little bit about a circle. So here's a circle. The circumference of the circle is basically its perimeter. We don't use the word perimeter for circle. We use circumference. The circumference is 2 pi times the radius. The radius of the circle connects the center to any point on the circle. Also, the area is pi r squared. Good. So let's look at a numerical example first. Or maybe we should just solve C equals to pi r. Let's solve this for r first. And then we'll look at a numerical example. Can anyone tell us how to solve this formula for r? We don't have C. 2 is a number, pi is a number.
Move 2 pi to the other side.
It's multiplied. It's multiplied. I cannot separate 2 pi from r by splitting it like that, moving it to the other side. I cannot.
Can you divide both sides?
I have to. I have no choice. Indeed. I have to divide both sides by the number that multiplies r, or the quantity, or whatever it is in front of r. Okay. So let's look at then a numerical example. Let's say the radius is 8 centimeters. They want us to find the circumference. They want us to find the area. So let's use the formulas and determine the area and the circumference. In a lot of your questions in Pearson, they are not asking you to replace pi with 3.14. In some situations, yes. In some situations, they want an exact answer, which means do not replace pi by 3.14. So this is 2 pi times 8. This is not an equation I can calculate, so I can continue here and write 16 pi. Since it's in centimeters, the circumference is in centimeters. But the area is pi r squared, which is pi times 8 squared, which is 64, or 64 pi. But this is in centimeters squared because it's area. If they're asking us to approximate, then the circumference will be 16 times 3.14, and we approximate, and the area will be 64 times 3.14, and you approximate. Let me show you where pi is in the graphing calculator. So you have it. Here it is. Good. Here's pi. right here under the caret. So under clear, the key entitled clear, with the second and pi. And then you multiply by, in this case, by 16. And then you multiply by 64. So the same thing, and 64. So if they want an approximation, the first one, which is the circumference, is 50.27. And the second one is 201.06 centimeters squared. Any questions on how to calculate the area and the circumference of a circle? Okay, here's another model now. 9x minus 3y equals 12. They're asking us to solve for y. This is what we're going to do in the next module. A lot. Yes, when I look at this equation, I see that all these have a common factor of 3. Yes, I will simplify. Most of the time is crucial. So when you simplify by 3, what simple equation do we get?
Three x minus y equals 4.
Excellent. We're solving for y. What will you do first?
Isn't it 3x?
Of course.
3y?
Of course. Absolutely. Sorry, my mistake. Good.
Subtract 3x from the left.
Yes, from both sides. Move it to the other side, and I have to move it in such a way that the expression on the right-hand side is in descending order. This is crucial again. Very important to remember. Good. I have one more step. I'm not asked to solve for negative y. I'm asked to solve for y. So what do I do now to both sides to solve for y?
Divide both sides by -1.
Yes. Division by -1 or multiplication by -1 mean the same thing. So it's either, they're both correct. You either say I'm dividing both sides by -1 or I'm multiplying both sides by -1. It's still the same thing, which is 3x minus 4. Any questions?
Yes, when you say in descending order, do you mean like the number you,
Yeah,
Like the
descending
term
order,
has
if you
more?
remember when we identify the degree, the leading coefficient, and the leading term. So some time ago we talked about this. That's what I mean by descending order. For example, x minus 3x cubed plus 4x squared minus plus 5 is not in descending order. The correct descending order is negative 3x to the third plus 4x squared plus x and plus 5. So then I can identify the degree, which is 3. I can identify the leading term, which is negative 3x cubed. And I can identify the leading coefficient, which is negative 3. So all polynomials have to be presented in descending order of the powers of the variable. For these reasons, so I can identify the degree, the leading term, and the leading coefficient. Does that answer your question? Very good question.
yes, it does, thank you.
Yes, this is crucial. You will see in the next modules why. Good, perfect. Other questions? Okay, let's continue. That's page 10, I think. Okay. A equals B, B, C, D. So we have A equals B plus B, C, D. We're asked to solve for C. Don't mind anything else. We only care about C. That's our focus. We are solving for C. Can anyone help with the first step?
Combine like terms.
There is nothing.
It looks like there's two B's.
Yeah, but first I have to multiply. So when I add 2x plus 24x, I do get 26x. But can I add these? Can I get 2x plus 24xyz? Nope. Nope, I cannot. I cannot pick and choose. The term is 24xyz. It's not like term with 2x. They have something in common, but that's not enough. Good, so we are solving for C. What will be the first step? What do you think?
Divide B and D on both sides.
Nope. It's not incorrect what you're saying, but first I have to move B to the other side. So I have to have A minus B equals B, C, D, and now I will solve for C. First we have to clear and simplify the equation. And now, final step towards solving for C. Remember, we don't start by dividing. We start by cleaning it up. This does not have the variable, so it does not belong to this side. It belongs to the other side. And now, finally, yes, what do we do? You said it, Rachel.
Divide B and D.
Yes, we divide both sides by B times D. Indeed. Yep. Again, we are following the exact same steps we have been following with numbers. First, I have to clean this up. I don't start by dividing before I move the term that does not belong to the right, move it to the left. And then I divide. Good. Here's another. I equals PRT. They want us to solve for R. Lowercase r. These are also different problems, and we need to practice. Nobody was born knowing these things. We all practiced. So, how will I solve for r? What should we do? So the variable is r in this case. So r equals
I
anyone?
divided by PT.
Absolutely. Now they're giving us I 1680. They're giving us P as 8,000, and they're giving us T as 3.5. Can I find R? Yes, because I solved the model for R. I will plug in I will plug in P, I will plug in T. So R equals 1680 divided by 8,000 multiplied by 3.5. But I want to show this to you, how important this is to understand how to enter it in the graphing calculator. If you do not put parentheses around the denominator, the calculator will perform a totally different operation than the one intended. Okay? So careful. So The numerator is 1680. The denominator with parentheses. And don't simplify, don't try to perform the operation step by step. Get used to entering it correctly in the graphing calculator so you don't introduce error, and you also have the correct answer. So this is 0.06. So I do not simplify to the side because this is an equation. R equals 0.06. Is there a way of checking? Of course. Multiply P, 8,000, by 0.06 and by 3.5. If you don't get 1680, something is wrong. Any questions? Here's another. Y equals mx plus 5. We're going to look at this a lot very soon. Okay, in this case, we're asked to solve for m. M. What is the first step?